Welcome to From Beyond with your host, Glenn Boddice. Join me as we explore spirituality, self-help, and channeling spirit. Hello and welcome to From Beyond with your host Glenn Boddice, spiritual medium. In this week's episode, I'm very excited to be showcasing to you excerpts of my new audiobook called In Good Spirits. Now, this book is all about paranormal adventures, tips, tricks, guidance. Also, I share some of my own personal encounters and adventures along the way. So I thought I would give you a sneaky peek into this book, and it is available only from my website. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this wonderful adventure into the world of the unknown. Spirit communication. And I'm sure if we're all honest with ourselves, at one level in our life, one time in our life, we will have all had an encounter with a spirit being or spiritual energy. And we're going to explore this with a little bit of depth today. So for a spirit to actually communicate their message to you, whether you are a medium, whether you're sensitive, or, whether you're just being your natural self, whatever it is, for them to make that effort, what they have to do is they have to lower their vibration. They have to lower their frequency in order to come into our frequency realm there as well. So imagine that level of effort that they have to do in order just to bring one small message through. It always astounds me when I do get communication from spirit, and I show that level of respect and gratitude because, I'm aware of that sort of effort that it takes them. So, also with this being the case, you will find that spirit will find the least path of resistance. So they're going to find, like water trickling down a mountain, basically, using that analogy, they're going to find the path of least resistance, the easiest path for them to make that communication either to you or through you. And so that could be, if you happen to be sensitive, they will play on your senses, a feeling. If you happen to be good at daydreaming and things like that, they may show you an image in your mind's eye. You may even hear them. They will use the easiest path, easiest route to get that message either to you or through you by doing that. And some spirits actually find it a lot easier to manipulate objects or energies within an object so that they can move that object in order to alert you of their presence. Other spirits can do, they can manipulate the mood in the atmosphere. They can also put thoughts in your mind of a time gone by. You may think of them, may have a sudden thought that comes in your mind, and it happens to be that person that's trying to communicate to you from the world of spirit. Maybe it's a loved one that's passed and you suddenly think of them out of the blue. Well, spirit will take this opportunity to, like I say, use the path of least resistance in order to get their message through, whatever that may be. Now, messages or signs, as I like to call them, come in various forms. And like I've just suggested there, repetitive thoughts. I'm sure we've all been through this where we've had that thought from the moment we woke up to the moment we go to bed and we can't seem to shake it off. Well, 9 times out of 10, this will be a message for you, a message from spirit trying to communicate to you. And it's only upon you acknowledging that you've heard that message and maybe exploring it with a little bit more depth, will they then stop replaying that in your mind. And you will find that there will be hidden depth within that message should you explore that. And always know that spirit, they will keep on going until you can pick up that information. They're not going to force you to do it. Obviously, it's your free will to choose to do that research and honor the message within that. But they will try their best to keep that message coming through until you understand what it means. Also, numbers as well. They're very prominent. Spirit do like to show us numbers or put numbers in our minds. We may just see the same number 3 or 4 times in that one day in random locations, all different times. And that is another way that Spirit can draw our attention to a message. Because if we were to research that number as an angel number, meaning on the internet, or if you have a book with that, then there will be a little reading in that, a message to you from the world of Spirit. And like I say, that is using a lot of energy, but the easiest route for them to show you that number. Instead of saying that sentence, they'll just give you a number. And so that's another way. Another way is animal totem medicine. So how many times have we've been out and about and we just see a random animal like crosses our path all of a sudden? Now, most people will say, oh, that's a nice animal, and just carry on their day. But, actually, if you were to explore the animal totem meaning by researching that either on the internet or if you have some literature about it, then there will be a message within that. So Spirit will be trying to communicate this message to you through the path of least resistance. And there's 2 of those things I've just described as well. But what I find fascinating is the fact that Spirit can place a song in your head, and it may be a song that you haven't heard for the best part of 20 years, and you haven't listened to it since then either, excuse me. Well, within that song, again, until you acknowledge that song and think, well, there must be something in it, there must be a meaning. What's the name of the artist? Is there a message in the name in the artist? What's the name of the song? Is there a message in the title of the song? And then when you explore the lyrics, either on the internet or if reading the back of an LP or something, then there will be more hidden depth. Again, this is a prime example of Spirit using the path of least resistance in order to get all that information, all that content by simply placing these songs in your mind in order to get that message through to you as well. You may even find that energetically you are drawn to places, things, or even people as well that on an average day you're not necessarily drawn to. Well, with this being the case, again, it will be the fact that energy behind the scenes, Spirit, are putting that inclination into your feeling, into your being as well. And it's up to you to pursue that further, so to investigate it further. It may be the fact that you're drawn to a certain individual, and when you are brave enough to strike up a conversation with that individual, you may have certain things in common with them, and in that conversation, they might bring something up where they can help you on your pathway, whatever your pathway is. So there's always a purpose. There's always a reason why Spirit do make that effort to communicate with us as well. But whilst we're doing this, what I'd encourage you all to do is start and be the observer. Stop taking things for granted. Just observe things and notice the little things. Respect the process as well when you are observing things. So, if you are overhearing conversations and there's a word that leaps out and sticks with you, that's you observing, being observant, and that word might just be the very thing that a loved one in Spirit is wanting to communicate to you. So your attention is simply diverted to somebody else's conversation at that precise moment in time for you to hear that word. And so being the observer can serve not only yourself, obviously, from receiving the messages from your loved ones, but also it's giving Spirit that validation, isn't it? That all their efforts haven't been in vain, and you're picking up on the meanings within them as well. So being the observer, feelings, hearing, songs, what you're drawn to magnetically, that is part of following guidance that's coming in as well. So just be more open than what you would normally be, and take the idea out your mind that it was just a coincidence. It wasn't a coincidence. The amount of effort that has to go into something like this behind the scenes for everything to line up so that you can interact with the information that's being presented before you. It literally blows our minds if we think of all the mechanics or the timings, the energy available at that time in order to bring the message through. There's a lot of effort that goes in behind the scenes. So showing that level of respect as well and not taking it for granted is also part of being a good observer there as well. Also, intention plays a very prime role, I feel, when we are communicating with spirit, because I was told that, again by my spirit team, that they can only do so much. They're not going to tell us everything because it would have an infringement on our free will. So we have to ask for it, and upon us asking for it, they will then do their best to communicate the information that we're asking for to us. It may come in subtle forms. It may come in, you may be drip fed the information, but it will come, and it's up to you again, going back to what I said earlier about you being the observer, paying attention and showing that level of respect of the process that they have to go through in order to bring the information through there as well. So with intention, we have to ask, obviously. We have to listen as well. Like we've already touched upon today, we have to listen with our physical mind, with our emotions, with our knowing. How many times have we all had an inner knowing that's unmistakable? It's unshakable. We just know. We're not interested what anybody else thinks, says, or does. We know, and we're sticking to that. How many times have we had that? So that's listening for the communications to come back. Also that feeling, being drawn, like I said earlier, to various people, places, environments. That is also us trusting that calling by following, again, allowing ourselves to make that choice with our free will to either follow the inspiration that we're being given, or to, in fact, not to listen and to carry on regardless on our own pathway. The choice is always ours, and that's where our power lies in any one given moment. So trusting your intuition as well is paramount with this process. Because feeling the truth, we all know what truth feels like, or at least I hope we do. Trust feels like it flows, doesn't it? There's no resistance. There's a comfortable feeling. There's I'm trying to get my words out. There's a reliable feeling tone in that trust, and knowing that trust is there. And anything other than that, obviously we start to feel a little bit like there's roadblocks in the way. We feel a little bit frustrated, agitated. We feel uncomfortable when we're in the presence of energy or communications that do not have any truth in them. And so trusting your intuition, if it flows, then go with that. That will be the right path for you to choose. So keep on trusting that. And also with this, protection is paramount when we are communicating with spirit, because some of us vibrate at different frequencies depending upon our dominant thought patterns or our belief systems or our mental or psychological programming that we've all encountered over our lives. Then we're going to attract a different level of spirit communicator towards us. And some of those, if we're thinking those lower base frequency thoughts, or at least allowing some of that energy to be around us, we're going to attract that sort of a communicator to share their information with us. So showing that level of protection around ourselves, setting boundaries. And again, that would tie in with intentions by stating that you only want communicators from spirit that wish to bring a message through in the name of love, light, peace, truth, and harmony. And just by stating those words, that already, it keeps the board clear, doesn't it? Because anything that is lower based energy to those words, love, light, peace, truth, and harmony, will not feel comfortable in the presence of those words and the energy within those words. So by stating that intention, you're placing yourself in a form of protection when you are communicating with spirit. There are various techniques that you can use in order to protect your energy, such as the bubble technique, imagining you're in a bubble of light. Now that light color can vary depending on what mood you're in that day. So, for example, if you're feeling like you're in a light, high vibrational white colored ball of light, then that will keep you safe and protected during your spirit communication as well. So I'd like to give you a few examples where I've experienced personally spirit communication. And obviously, you know that I'm a spiritual medium, but when I'm not fully focused on doing readings and doing the work, going through day-to-day chores, then I still like to remain observant, and see what information's around. So there's a few examples that I've encountered. So what I find is if you're out and about and suddenly there's a robin redbreast, a bird that draws close to you and is around you. It's come out of the blue. It's not Christmas time. You normally see them around Christmas time, don't you? But on this occasion, you see it completely out of season, so to speak. And it is drawn to you. It's hopping around you. Normally, they're very timid birds. They're shy birds, but they're very territorial as well. But when you do see it, when I've seen it, it's hopping around me. It's looking at me. It'll go back and then it will keep being drawn back to me. Well, when I've experienced this, I take this as a sign that it is a loved one coming in from the world of spirit, bringing their communication through this animal, letting me know that they're all right. So whenever I see a robin, I always just clear my mind and allow, if I'm thinking of any family member or loved one who I know is in the world of spirit, and they happen to come out of the blue in my mind in that moment, I know that this is a sign from them to let me know that they are around, they're okay, and they're watching over me and they're still around. So that's one example I can give you. Another one is, obviously you've heard the channelings from one of my communicators in spirit and one of my visitors to my home called Little Tom, and he's a little lad around 8-9 years old, and I've seen him various times in the home, as I've probably mentioned on here before. But one of the things that he did many years ago is he likes to play and he likes to have fun and he likes to make people laugh. And upon going out to the gym one day, nobody else was in the house. I'd locked the house up. I'd gone to the gym. I'd come back. And in my room, before I left, I had some Converse All-Star trainers. And for anybody that has a pair of those trainers, you'll know that they've got really long laces on them. And so when I left the home in order to go to the gym, these were placed, perfectly at the side of one another in my room. And so I didn't think anything of it until I came back from the gym. I was getting undressed in my room, ready to go and have a shower. And as I looked down at the trainers that I was describing there, the laces were moved away from the trainers, and the laces were positioned into words, which were quite phenomenal to see. Because the first time that this happened, it's happened more than once, I looked down and there was the word P-O-O in joined up lettering with the laces, which obviously spells poo. And, so I tuned in, I tapped in, and I found out it was Little Tom just having a laugh with us to get my attention and to raise the vibration and just to let us know that he is capable of doing this. He enjoyed doing that. And, he found it entertaining leaving that message. On another occasion, similar scenario, again, out to the gym, nobody in the home. I came back, got ready to go in the shower, and again with the laces, the word we, W-E-E, was spelt out in joined up lettering with the positioning of the shoelaces. Again, it was little Tom. I had a conversation with him after I discovered it. And again, it just does it to raise the vibration and just to have a bit of a laugh and to tell us that he's around. So it's wonderful when we're observant and we can spot these little things. I've also had many other things happen to me. One other thing is upon going to bed of an evening, I keep my door shut and there's a landing outside my bedroom. And I'm just, just calming down, preparing to go to sleep. And all of a sudden in that process, I can hear somebody walking up the landing outside of my bedroom door. There's only me in the household, nobody else at this point. So I know it can't be anybody else. The doors were locked. Nobody else has got the key to the home. And I can hear people walking. Well, one person, it felt like a man's footsteps because they were quite heavy, walking, pacing up and down the landing outside my door. And then they stopped outside my bedroom door. And then that's when I thought, hang on, I can hear footsteps. And then they started moving again. And I could hear them pacing up and down. So what I did, in my mind, I started communicating with this energy. I set the intention out and I said, whoever you are, I don't mind you visiting as long as you're coming in love, light, peace, truth, and harmony. But I want you to respect the boundaries of my bedroom. I need to get my rest. I need to get my sleep. And you are not allowed in here because I need to get my rest and need to get my sleep. Thank you for coming in. And respect my boundaries, please. Or words to those effect. Anyway, I communicated quite bluntly and with respect as well, clearly, the intentions. And after I said that, I said it in my mind. After I said that, it stopped. The footsteps were no longer there. I couldn't hear them. So they respected that. And I really appreciated that because at that moment in time, I was struggling to get a good night's sleep there. So it's wonderful. It's wonderful when you interact with spirit, the things that they can share with you and the messages that they can bring forward to help you to add nourishment to your life, to add more substance to your life, to keep you on your pathway there as well. But another example, I've had doors opening in the home when there's no draft or anything like that, no windows open, and then a door will open. And everybody can be accounted for in the house because we're all in the same room, me and my daughters, and then we all look together at the door. And we all look at one another. And then what I generally do is I walk over to the door that's opened. And instantly upon doing that, I can feel a shift in the vibrations, in the energy around that door. And that's when I start to pick up a spirit communicator, a spirit being that has moved that door in order to get my attention. And usually when I've done that, I've walked into that space where they are standing, where they are positioned, I can then get a link with them. And upon getting that link, there's, again, 9 times out of 10, there's usually a message they want to bring through, a sense of urgency, not necessarily negative energy, but information, nevertheless, that would enrich the life of myself and my 2 girls. And also, I've had this on occasions where I've had to do a soul rescue. And help some of these spirits go over the rainbow bridge into the world of light, back home into the heavens, if you want to use that terminology. And part of them getting my attention is by moving either objects, opening doors like that. And it's only upon not showing any level of fear, but going into that energy, walking as soon as it happens. If it happens to anybody that's listening here, go straight over to that where you've seen the door open or where you sense that energy change or where you've heard that noise. Go straight over to it and just pay attention how you feel, excuse me, in that energy, in that environment. Notice your emotions changing. Notice images coming in your mind. Notice yourself having hearing a song or having some dialogue being placed in your mind as well. 9 times out of 10, this will be that spirit being that's wanting your attention, that's wanting help, that's wanting you to communicate with them, and also wanting for you to listen to their story, their life story. There's something that they're holding on to energetically. With them sharing their life story, in essence, they're releasing those shackles that tie them into this level of reality, making their spirit body a lot lighter and vibrating higher frequencies so that they can then naturally make their progression into the world of light. So I hope that has helped you in some way with today's topic. And just pay attention, be more observant, and you'll be surprised to know that spirit never leave us. They're always around, and they're always here to help, guide, and at least put us in the right direction without force, if that makes sense, because the choice is always ours in one given moment. And spirit work in miraculous ways. They're always constantly trying to learn us, educate us in various forms. You know, we may get repetitive thoughts. We may just be hearing a conversation that's happening around us. This will be the world of spirit, energy world, if you like, energetic world, trying to make us aware of that presence and the lesson within the content that they're making us more aware of in that moment. So spirit are amazing. I can't thank them enough, and I feel very blessed as a spiritual medium to be working with them on a daily basis. I've reached a point now where they do respect my own time and my time out, because obviously with working with spirit a lot, you do need time out to recalibrate your energy and refresh yourself, and also live your own life as well. But having said that, when you build up a strong relationship with your spirit guides and your spirit team, they understand this, and they do back off, but they do give you little nuggets of information just along the way, not to hinder you, but to help you make progression forward on your pathway. So I feel very blessed that they do that, and they understand that that is a part of our day-to-day living in this dimension. But having said that, some of the things that they do draw my attention to are fascinating. You know, it may be places that I'm drawn to, and I feel like I have to go there. There's like an inner calling, if you like, where I have to go. And many of you will have heard me talk about the adventures that I go on, and I travel around the UK and spend a few days in various locations. All that is inspired by my guides, and I just get this inner calling, this feeling, and then I'm drawn to that location. There's something about it, whether it's the energy there, whether it's the people there. I'm just drawn to go there. And in doing so, I believe that I'm a vessel for light. So when I go to these places, spirit are allowing me that time to have a break, have a rest, a change of scenery, but also using me as a vessel to communicate and channel through that light, high vibrational frequency in the environment that I've been inspired to go to. So yeah, I feel very blessed. Spirit are amazing. Can't thank them enough. Spirits in the home. Now, I'm sure most of you that are listening to this right now will have encountered some paranormal activity at some part of your life. Those of you that are more sensitive than others will be obviously picking up more within your own home there. And myself, you know, I'm no exclusion to this either, because obviously with me being a spiritual medium, I get quite a lot of spiritual traffic in and around my home there, and it's constant, and it's a blessing, to be honest. I don't mind it. You become used to it, and you just see it as a blessing. So I just wanted to talk to you about various things that have occurred over the years, and hopefully you can relate to some of these things as well in connection with what you've experienced in your own home. Well, you know, you may be familiar with objects moving in your home. I mean, how many times have we all reached for a set of keys when there's only us in the house, and we're like, Well, I know that I put them there and they're not there anymore, and there's nobody else in the house. And so we get that as well. We get objects moving, ornaments moving. If those of you are listening still have ornaments in the home, and just paper falling down. I bet there's lots of people on here that's experienced seeing a white feather from absolutely nowhere in the middle of your home there. Now, this is another positive sign from Spirit bringing that through. And, these occur, like I say, from nowhere. There's been no windows open, no doors open. You've been nowhere where there's poultry or anything like that. There's nothing on your shoes to bring this feather in. And yet there it is in the home. So it always fascinates me when this occurs. I see it as a positive omen, a positive sign that you're being looked after by the angelic realm and by your guides and helpers. So look out for that if you haven't already experienced that within the home. But there is a story I'd like to share about some objects that... And now this happened a few years ago with me, and it happened on a couple of occasions. So I need to tell you the backstory first before I can unfold the details within this story. Okay, so the backstory of this, obviously, like I say, I'm a spiritual medium and we have a lot of spiritual traffic in our home here. And there's one constant visitor, is a young, I would describe him as a chimney sweep boy coming back from like the Victorian era in England. And so we get this young little lad. I won't mention his name because I may embarrass him. He's probably listening as I'm speaking now. But anyway, we have this spirit of a Victorian boy that comes in. And what he does is he told me that his role, he likes to call himself a runner. And his role includes bringing people from the spirit world into this reality. He helps them through that process in order for them to come through into the property where I'm at, and for them to communicate and come through in readings and things of that nature. So he's always around and he's very playful. I would place him around sort of 9 or 10 years old of age. And anyway, he always makes his presence known. And so on a couple of occasions, this is how he did it. So I was out, my children were at school, there was nobody in the home, and there was nobody had access to the home to get in at all. And so I'm a big fan of wearing Converse All-Stars, the boots. I absolutely love them. So I had a pair of those that were on my bedroom floor there. And as you know, with these, they have exceptionally long laces. And so you take them off and you just put them down, don't you? And the laces do what they want, sort of thing. Well, anyway, the reason why I bring this up is I was out of the home. I came back from the gym. I went upstairs to get changed. And as I looked down where I'd left these Converse All-Star trainers, I saw that the laces had formed into words. Okay. And you'll laugh when I say this, because the word in question that I saw, and it was quite clear, and I took a photo of it as well, it says poo, P-O-O. And this was formed out of laces in like a joined up writing fashion. And I got the sense of mischievousness when I saw this. I felt the energy around me in the room. And so I knew instinctively that it was Tom who brought this in. Bless his cotton socks for doing that. And it was his sense of humor. And again, just to prove that he is around and he is capable of doing this. So that was one occasion. On another occasion, again with the same pair of shoes, funnily enough, and this was, I would say, probably half a year, 8 months later than I originally saw that. Again, similar scenario. I was out at the gym, my girls were at school, no one was in the home, and the shoes were in my bedroom again on the floor. And anyway, I came in again. I got undressed, and as I looked down at these shoes, again there was a word written in with these laces in joined up writing. Only this time it read WEE, we. So again, I felt that energy of this little spirit gentleman, I say gentleman, little spirit lad, who was in the room, and he again had performed his magic in making this message and being a little bit cheeky and heightening the vibration with this message of we in my laces. So it amazed me that he did this. So I'm very grateful. So there's a couple of things where I've experienced objects moving when there's been no other explanation for it. And again, because I'm sensitive to energy, I picked up on that vibration that it was him that was doing it. Okay, another thing in the home that I've experienced is there's a lot of portals here, and there's a major one in particular, and this is the one where higher beings come through. And when I say higher beings, I'm talking like otherworldly beings and like mastery level beings that come through. And this portal, when you stand in it in the room, you feel yourself rocking forwards and backwards. You start to feel dizzy and lightheaded there, and you feel overcome with this sense of unconditional love, and it's a beautiful experience. It really, really does take your breath away, and you find yourself just, I think the best word I could describe it is like blissing out, in this vibration, in this portal. However, it's not to be taken advantage of and not to be taken lightly, as I've been told that it's an ascension column as well. So, such as when or myself or any of my friends need to ascend to a high level of being in terms of our consciousness, awareness, then this is where that vibration and energy comes through this portal there in the home. It's always there, I've just been told, but it does open up and it closes down when it is needed to be used. So a lot of the channeling that I do from spirit is attributed to this portal, and also having that accessibility into myself there as well, to be that clear vessel for them to work with. So you do also experience some temperature changes as well around this area in the home where the portal is. It can get really, really cold. And then when you place your hands around that area, you can subtly feel, it feels like a column of cold air rising from the floor, extending right up to the ceiling and beyond. And you can clearly feel the difference in atmosphere because it feels more compressed. And you move your hand away and then draw it back into that area where the portal is. And you notice that it's a compressed atmosphere and it's a lot colder. And so that's an amazing thing that I've experienced in my home and continue to do so. So I thought I would share that with you all. And I'm sure that if you're honest with yourself, there will be areas within your home that will have something of a similar nature. So I would urge you to question the integrity of those portals being there. And, do they feel high vibrational, or is it draining you? I mentioned when I experienced this in the portal, I feel this unconditional element of love and freedom and peace and harmony. So if you have a portal in your home and you're feeling anything other than that, then this is where you have to close it down, and you have to bring in the archangels to help clear and remove that. It shouldn't be there if it's not bringing that energy into your home. So I thought I would share that with you. On another level, and I'm sure we've all experienced this one, spiritual visitors visiting our home, whether this is family, friends, loved ones, pets, animals, or just spirit beings making their way through. As I mentioned, I get a lot of spirit traffic through my home, duly because I think myself and my daughters are very sensitive beings. And so we attract this sort of energy. But also, I've got a few stories I could share with you because we have quite a lot of things that happened. I'll start with an animal one first. So I was coming out of my bedroom one day, just opening the door. And as I opened the door, I was greeted by this small dog. And it looked like, pardon my French, it looked like a Shih Tzu dog, okay? And it was wagging its tail. It had big doughy eyes. Its tongue was hanging out. It was very, very excited. And it almost looked as if it was excited because it was going out for a walk, that type of level of excitement. Now, what is interesting about me describing all this to you is the fact that we don't own a dog. We've never had a dog. And so to wake up, go out of my bedroom door and see a dog there doing all this, and then suddenly it was clear as day, and then suddenly it would disappear into like as if you were fading out in a video. It went like that, and it faded out into nothing. And then what I did then is I bent down and I felt where I saw the image. And I was feeling the energy and the temperature change in that area. And again, like I described the feeling with the portal there in the home, there was a change in temperature. It was cold. It was more compressed energy than it was anywhere else. And so I knew that my eyes weren't playing tricks on me. And of course, I instantly when I saw it, it's the normal to me. So I said, "Oh, hello, are you all right? What are you doing?" You know, like you would to an animal, to a dog. And I made a fuss of it. And I just felt really, really blessed to have experienced that. So we've also had cats in the home. Now, we used to have a cat, bless her, but she passed away into the world of spirit. Now, what she used to do is when we was all in bed, she would sleep downstairs. And what she would do when she was alive is if she wanted some attention, she'd come upstairs and sit on the landing and she'd cry like a baby, you know, like some cats do, like a like that. And it's one of those calls that are absolutely annoying after so long. And what makes this interesting is the fact that my youngest daughter, I would say probably half a year after our cat had passed away, had experienced hearing this meow call and also a scratching on her door, just like our cat Toffee used to do when she was with us, when she was alive. And she heard it plain as day. It woke her up. It frightened her a little bit because she couldn't go back to sleep. And so it was lovely to get that visit from our cat Toffee and just to let us know that she is all right by coming to visit us there as well. Now, in terms of people coming to visit, I've had a few visitors from family members to friends, to just general people popping in to say hello from the world of spirit. Now, there's one particular visitation that I had, which is quite, it makes me laugh from this day. It still makes me laugh, should I say. And this was, I'll just tell the backstory of this. Well, basically, I was preparing tea in the kitchen for my two daughters, and we bring the tea in. We sit and watch a bit of TV sometimes with our tea, our food on our lap. So I was preparing tea and I was just bringing it into the room on a tray so I could give it over to my daughters to eat. And upon walking into the living room, all of a sudden it felt as if somebody had put two fingers up my nostrils and were yanking at my nose and pulling me in a direction. And it was quite a surprise because there was nobody there. And you can imagine if anybody living was doing this, you would know about it. It's very uncomfortable feeling. And it was slightly painful. I'll be honest with you. It was slightly painful and totally unexpected when it did occur. And so my girls looked at me, gone out, and they said, "Dad, what's the matter? What are you doing?" And I said, I could hardly speak. And I was saying, "Somebody's got their fingers up my nose. I can't breathe." And I was being pulled in one direction. So after I'd acknowledged it and I'd voiced what was happening out to my daughters, then that sensation and that experience stopped. But what I do find interesting about this is the fact that my uncle in the world of spirit, one of his stories that he used to tell us as kids growing up is the fact that he was in the army, and if anybody was misbehaving or he didn't take a shine to, what he would do, one of his trademarks, is he would stick his fingers up their nose and pull them forward out the way. And so to me, this was great evidence that it was my uncle in the world of spirit, just drawing in to make me laugh, to let me know that he's still around. He's still got that sense of humor and also that characteristic there. And he was bringing that through in front of both my daughters. So, the evidence is there with them as well, that they witnessed that. I wasn't just making it up. It did happen. And it was very, very unusual, to say the least there. So that's one occasion. Another occasion, like I've said before on a previous episode, I've had my dad visit here on numerous times, and I've heard his voice. I've even seen him in my living room there. I just got a brief glimpse of him. He used to wear like cardigans and things like that to keep him warm. And I just caught a glimpse of his cardigan in my living room. And then it was almost like a watercolor. It kind of disappeared into normality, if that makes sense. So it was like a wash of color. I saw the cardigan, and then it faded back into normality. So that was a beautiful experience. But there's another one that still makes me laugh today. And so what occurred is I went to the smallest room in the house. In other words, the bathroom, the toilet. And of course, I was doing my ablutions on the toilet, as you do, without going into any detail. And all of a sudden, you sat there, you're looking round. The next minute, near the bathroom door, I saw a pair of legs. A pair of legs from the feet moving up to the knee. And when I looked at these legs, I saw some black brogue shoes that were highly polished. And then the trousers, they were, I would say they were blue pinstripe trouser with a pleat down the center. And I saw them as clear as day, as if somebody was literally standing there. But I only saw it up to the knee. Couldn't see any more of that person other than up to the knee. So as soon as I saw this, I was in the right room to see it, that's for sure. Most people would be absolutely scared, but because it's quite a regular occurrence in our house, I simply said, well, thank you very much for coming in. I really appreciate you taking this time. It's a blessing, but please, can you give me some privacy? I'm on the toilet. I don't mind you coming. I don't mind you showing yourself, but not when I'm on the toilet, please. And I started to cover myself up as normal people would. So that was absolutely bizarre to go through that experience. There's been other occasions in this home where we've had doors opening. We've had people walking upstairs. We can hear the footsteps moving about when everybody in the household is downstairs. We've experienced phantom smells coming from nowhere, perfume. Also smells of food as well when we're not cooking at all. We've also, one of the other things that we've had is we've got fire alarms, as all properties have nowadays, in the home there. And these fire alarms are rigged into the electric, as most are. And we had an occasion where the electric cut out. The alarms were going off. And so, yeah, that's fine. No problem. Blah, blah. That's standard. Yeah, that's a problem. But what makes this interesting is one of the, I think one of the alarms there was playing up. So we put new batteries in and all of that and sorted that. And every 7 seconds, these alarms were going off. And so what we did is we deactivated the power that was powering these alarms. All the batteries were fine, not a problem. And there was still going off every 7 seconds. So upon investigating this, after this happening for, I would say, about half an hour, it was driving us up the wall. So I went up and checked the one at the top of the stairs. And in doing so, I was aware of a spirit gentleman there. I was aware of his presence and his energy. And so anyway, he made it abundantly clear to me that he was doing it, and it was to get my attention because he needed help moving over. He was attracted to the property by our light, by our vibration, thinking that he was moving over to the light. However, he got stuck and he couldn't find a way out. And so I engaged in some conversations with him. I introduced myself. I was asking him about his life. And with doing that as well, together, we raised his vibrations. I say together because I'm referring to myself and my spirit guides. We raised his vibrations so that he was feeling a lot better about himself, and that gave him that energy, and also calling in Archangel Michael to move him over into the world of light. And so there was method in that madness, all these alarms going off. I thought it was unusual because we did all the standard checks, is it a technical issue? And it wasn't. And so it was lovely to get that sort of evidence from Spirit, for them to bring that and to reach those levels in order to get our attention. So, yeah, we did move him over to the world of light. And as he passed over there, he did shout, "Thank you very much." And he was very, very grateful. But yeah, it's very, very active, as I'm sure you will agree after hearing some of these stories I've just shared with you. So what I would like you to do is just pay attention to your home, and if there's any unusual activity, don't be frightened or scared by it at all, because spirit beings, they have a level of respect. Some are ignorant, like they were when they was down here on the earth plane. But you've just got to not lower your energy to their vibration. Simply show them that respect always, and just question what you're experiencing. Delve a little bit deeper than perhaps you would have done, and you will be able to come up with some conclusions. Always don't just immediately assume, oh, it's a ghost, it's a spirit. Always go through the checks. Is it something that naturally occurs? Is it wind? Is it vibration in the home? Are the windows open? Are the heaters playing up? Always do that first, and then trust your intuition, trust the feelings that you're picking up on, and then this will guide you to make your conclusion what is actually happening in the home. But don't be frightened of it. It's a beautiful blessing for you to witness these occurrences within your home, and it leaves you with a beautiful feeling that you have that ability to interact with this energy as well. So just a bit of food for thought there for you all. So just pay attention, basically. Paranormal adventures. So what am I talking about by stating that? Well, basically, I'm going to share with you some of my recent adventures. And many of you may or may not know that what I do like to do is a lot of traveling. And I like to see various locations all over the UK. And for whatever reason, I feel as though I am inspired, I'm drawn to those areas of the country. It's like I must go there for some reason. I think I mentioned this on a previous episode. I feel as though I'm drawn there to just to share that energy, that energy of light by walking round and being that vessel of light for where the light is needed. So I feel as though very strongly that I'm drawn there by my spirit team. So I'm going to share a few of these adventures I've been on and some of the paranormal things that have happened whilst I've been in these locations. And you may or may not want to visit these locations and experience this for yourself. I found it fascinating because I go on these little adventures, if you like, to try and get away from it all, have a relaxing time, soak up the atmosphere, and also to soak up the culture of these different locations that I go to. So it's not necessarily my intention to do any paranormal work whilst I'm visiting these places. It's mainly I'm going there to relax and, like I say, to soak up the vibes and really enjoy myself. Just having a look round and seeing the beauty in these different locations. But recently, I recently visited Norwich, and which is in Norfolk in the United Kingdom. And I was drawn to have some time in Cromer. And then from there I went, I was only there probably an hour or two. Then from there I was inspired to go to Norwich, which is the centre, if you like, the city of Norfolk. And so I was drawn to that place. And upon going there, I had a good look round. Very historic, some lovely sights to see, very busy with people though, as you would expect, with it being a city, very diverse as well culturally. And so that was always encouraging to see that in any town, village or city. But one particular occurrence, shall we call it, that happened whilst on this adventure was I happened to walk down a really old cobbled street there. I forget the name of the street, but the street did have the houses there, the buildings with the timber frames. Do you know what I mean? That you've got like the plaster and then the timber frames that are exposed on the outside. Very old looking buildings. And so I'm walking down this cobbled street. There's only me there minding my own business. And I was using it as a cut through to get back to where I'd parked my vehicle. And so upon walking, I hope that has wet your whistle, so to speak. There's some excerpts from my latest audiobook called In Good Spirits. Now, this book is only available from my website, which is www.glennboddicespiritualmedium.com. And it's an instant download because as soon as you purchase the book, it is then downloaded to the download folder of the electronic device you placed the order from, and it's in MP3 format. And so you'll be able to listen to this book whilst you're on your own adventures or traveling to work or doing the house chores or anything like that. And it will give you an insight into the world of the unseen. Like I say, we offer, I'm referring to my guides and myself, some guidance, some help, how you can communicate and connect with spirit and understand their languages of symbolisms and all of that. So it's very much an educational book, but also full of stories and adventures that I've experienced myself. So it's well worth it. So go over to my website and go and purchase that book. And the book in itself is over 10 hours in length. So it will certainly keep you out of trouble and it will keep you occupied and busy there. So I really appreciate you listening to this. I hope you've learned a lot from it. And thank you for tuning in for another action-packed deep dive of an episode in this week's version of From Beyond with your host, Glenn Boddice, spiritual medium. It's a pleasure as always, and I look forward to your company, same place, same time, next Monday, 4 p.m. on all of my social media platforms. Have a blessed week, everybody. Take care. God bless, and I will see you very soon. Bye for now. Thank you for listening to From Beyond. For more information about what products and services Glenn provides, go to Glenn Boddice, spiritualmedium.com.